Hello everybody, welcome to Oddly Rambunctious, and back to Resident Evil 4. This is a fan request video. Someone wanted to know what my favorite weapon loadout was in the game. Because, happy birthday, by the way, to the fan's son, I believe it was. I apologize if I got that wrong. I haven't looked at the comment for a few days. So if I got that wrong, I apologize. Happy birthday to someone. Okay, so, as many of you know, Resident Evil 4 is my all-time favorite game. I bought it in November of 2005, which I think was about a month after it came out on PS2. PS2 version was my first foray into Resident Evil 4. It very quickly became my favorite game of all time and has remained there ever since. I have played it consistently over the last, however long it's been, 16 years? Although I guess the past several years, it's kind of petered out a little bit. I have become like infinitely burned out on the game because I've played it so much, which is hard to do for me. I think that's just indicative of just how much I've played the game. But anyway, yes. So my favorite weapons. Obviously, because I played this game so long, I have come up with strategies of my own over the years. I typically don't watch playthroughs before I play a game thoroughly, because I don't like using other people's strategies to get through maybe like a hardest difficulty or just in general. There are a couple of situational things throughout Resident Evil 4 that I do use other strategies that I've seen online for, but they're very rare and just very minute things. For the most part, I have played the game so much that I pretty much have a strategy for each individual encounter throughout the entire game. Obviously, there are exceptions to that. Sometimes, like the lava room, that can still shit me off. That still throws me, a loop for a loop. The bulldozer ride, try to get down to Ashley in time after you hit the switch. That still causes me problems, here and there, problems like that. But other than those few situations, for the most part, every individual encounter in the game, I have a strategy that I developed on my own. Which, like I said, is just testament to just how much I've played this game over the years. Like I said, it very quickly became my favorite game of all time. I often cite, me as having played through it 150 times. That's really just a guess. I really don't know how many hours I put into it. I've since misplaced memory cards that I had on PS2. I've also played, obviously, the GameCube version and many, many hours on the original piece of shit PC version, as well as the Ultimate HD, which you all will know and love, because that is all my, that is the version that I use for all of my playthroughs on this channel, and a couple maybe on previous channels, I'm not sure. But anyway, so let's get right into it. My favorite loadout. So, obviously, I'm going to go down the line here for the different categories of weapons. We're going to start with handguns. And many of y'all will know this if you have watched any of my playthroughs before. I'm sure I mentioned this in, either in passing or maybe in a little bit more detail in other playthroughs. But my favorite handgun in the game is the handgun, the starting basic handgun. And there's a funny story behind why it's my favorite. It's kind of stupid too, because it has less to do with any kind of amazing stats or anything, and more to do with me being like a cheap, greedy bastard. Now, don't get me wrong, the starting handgun is fantastic after you get the exclusive upgrade. The exclusive upgrade increases the critical hit chance by 5. I don't know what the base chance is. I want to say it's 5%. Because if it was 5% and you multiply that by 5, all of a sudden it becomes 25%. That makes sense to me. And that's kind of what it feels like in the game. It does feel pretty high. So, like I said, I haven't actually looked that up. I don't know what the base chance is, but it feels like it should be 5%, so increased by 5, 25%. After you get that upgrade, it becomes arguably the best handgun in the game, but honestly, I'm a little biased towards the handgun, if I'm going to be completely honest. The Blacktail is hard to beat. The Blacktail is a powerhouse of a handgun. It does a lot of damage, it fires really fast, and you're not really relying on the luck-based critical hit chance to do damage. It just does damage in general. So, yeah. So I probably would give the Blacktail the crown as the best handgun in the game. But the basic starting handgun after the exclusive upgrade is definitely the second best handgun in the game because of the exclusive upgrade. If you're good at pulling off headshots, you will be rewarded for that because you will just be popping heads left and right. You'll save ammo. Obviously, you'll thin the herd. That exclusive upgrade really changes the complete dynamic of the basic handgun. All right, so the funny story about why why the basic handgun is my favorite handgun in Resident Evil 4. Like I said, it has nothing to do with stats and everything to do with me being a cheap, greedy asshole. For anyone who's played the game, you will know that the Blacktail doesn't become available until Chapter 3-1, the castle. Before that, all you have is the basic handgun, which you start with, the Punisher, which you can unlock by shooting the medallions, and the Red 9, which is unlocked in chapter... what chapter is that? 2-2? 2-1, 2-2, something like that. I think it's the merchant after you rescue Ashley, right? When you go back through the cemetery and you get down there for the second time and like in the sewer. It's not really a sewer though. It's like an underground cave area. It's where you find the headdress. I believe that's the first time he sells the Red 9. The Red 9 can do the most damage by a handgun in the game. But it has a low ammo capacity. It fires slower. And it's a little unwieldy. It's slightly like more unwieldy than the other handguns. I do like it. It's like more of a classic like old school swag pistol more than for like function. But yeah, the Blacktail isn't available until 3-1. So what when I first started playing the game, I switched to the Blacktail because I had the player's guide. And obviously I listened to that in terms of like which weapons it told me to upgrade to use. So I went with the Blacktail for the first several playthroughs of the game. Alright guys, sorry about that. Anyway, where were we? I was talking about how the Blacktail was used by me during the first several playthroughs of the game. And because it unlocks in 3-1 the castle, and I'm a greedy asshole, what I used to do, what I started doing, was playing through chapters 1 and 2 in their entirety without buying any upgrades for the handgun. Because I wanted to save up as much money as possible to buy the Blacktail and upgrade it as much as possible when I got it in 3-1. So, because of that, you kind of have to learn the ins and outs of the combat if you're going to be using the non-upgraded handgun through, some of the tougher chapters, obviously, like all the chapters, especially when you get to like the Plagas part, and that starts chapter 2. You really have to learn the ins and outs of the AI and the combat. The cabin fight in particular really sucks balls with the non-upgraded handgun. It was basically like a no merchant run. That was how I normally played for a long stretch when I first started playing the game, just because I didn't want to buy any upgrades and waste that money because I knew I was going to be getting rid of the handgun when I got to the castle. So, because I did that, I kind of learned like the intricacies of the handgun itself. So I started using that. I got better at using it, and that is what I just started sticking with. So, like I said, it's just a random, stupid story about why that is my favorite handgun. It's not because the exclusive is just amazing. Like, if it was like a 50% exclusive upgrade, then yeah, that would definitely make it the best handgun in the game. But it's only 25%. I do have to relent and say that while, I do love the starting handgun very, very much, especially with the exclusive upgrade, the Blacktail is the best handgun. But, like I said, once you start playing through the first 2 chapters, and like I said, I used to play on professional mode. I played on normal mode for the first several playthroughs, maybe the first year or so of me playing it. It's weird too. I was actually kind of like afraid, because back then, I didn't have the same feeling of hardest difficulties as I do now. Like, I was actually kind of like scared to play professional mode. It was weird, because I don't know, like I just figured that it was just gonna be like impossible, like bullshit hard, not just like a steady escalation above normal, that tested your skills further than normal did. I thought it was gonna be like just impossible. So playing professional mode gave me like anxiety because I just didn't want to do it. So finally, I finally did it, and and yeah, professional mode is hard in Resident Evil 4, but it's if you know the game, then you can get through it easy peasy. It's really no big deal. And of course, now, as many of you know, if you watched any of my playthroughs on this channel, you will know that professional mode has been my default for years, and I almost never play on any other difficulty just because that's what I'm used to, professional. And honestly, that's how I feel. That's how Resident Evil 4 should be played. Because if you play on normal, like the enemies are not as fast, and they have less health. Yeah, I think you find. Well, I don't know if you find more ammo. But yeah, it's more. It turns it into more of like a straight up kind of action shooter. The survival horror kind of tension from being surrounded by tough enemies, and you can die in like 2 hits. That's where the kind of intensity of the game comes from. So, if you are new to Resident Evil 4, or if you haven't played professional all that much, my personal opinion is that professional mode in Resident Evil 4 is how it should be played. That's like the true Resident Evil 4 experience, as maybe egotistical and arrogant as that sounds. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. But anyway, so long story short, way too late. The handgun is my favorite handgun because I am a cheapskate, and for the longest time I was playing Chapter 1 and 2 without upgrading it, because I wanted to save money for the Blacktail, and because of that, I got so used to using the handgun that it became, and just good with it, that it just became pointless to buy the Blacktail in the castle, so I just stuck with the handgun, got the exclusive upgrade in 4-2, and the rest is history. So yeah, that is the story behind my love for the starting handgun and why I choose that. Okay. So moving on to shotguns. This shotguns are going to be a little weird, because my favorite shotgun is the riot gun, because it's just swag. It's just it's like a SWAT team like boomstick. I love it. I love the riot gun. But you've probably seen me use the starting shotgun more than the riot gun, and it's really for the same reasons as I just outlined for the handgun, because I plan on buying and upgrading the riot gun when I get to 3-1, which is also when that becomes available along with the Blacktail. I will go through Chapter 1 and 2 without upgrading the shotgun at all, just not to waste money. And the same with the handgun. I got used to using the shotgun. I got used to the ins and outs of the shotgun, and I just typically nowadays I will use the starting shotgun throughout the whole game, despite not liking it as much as the riot gun. The exclusive upgrade for the shotgun is also, it's interesting. I'm not sure if it's useful, because what I think it does anyway, is I think it extends the damage drop off. And like I said, I've not checked the wiki or anything. This is just my guess from me playing it, but I think it extends the damage drop off to where you don't have to use it just close range. No, because normally shotguns, at least video game shotguns, are more for your, like, close quarters, oh shit moment, button. That's basically that's how I use it in Resident Evil 4. I don't use it, just for shits. I only use it when I have to. And, it's almost like the TV trope, too awesome to use. Despite shotgun ammo being everywhere in Resident Evil 4, you don't have to play it that way. There's plenty of shotgun ammo for you to be a little more not stingy with using it. But that's just how I play games. I will only use things like shotguns and magnums when I absolutely have to. The handgun is really, if I will try to use the handgun, and if I absolutely cannot use the handgun, I will switch to the shotgun when I need to. But yeah, so I do prefer the riot gun. It does more damage than the starting shotgun. I think it holds a few, like maybe one less shotgun shell in its ammo capacity when it's maxed out compared to the regular shotgun. Its exclusive upgrade is a damage upgrade, which is obviously the main reason why I like it. because it's a shotgun, duh. You need the most damage out of a shotgun to get the most use out of it. And that is the exclusive upgrade for the riot gun. It's just a straight damage boost, unlike the strange range extension of the starting shotgun, which like I said, I'm not entirely sure how the exclusive for the starting shotgun works. I'm just kind of guessing here based on my experience with the game. But I think that is what it does. So you can use it at like medium range, and it still becomes quite, it's still viable. So if that's your thing, then obviously the starting shotgun would probably be more preferable. But yeah, I only use it literally when the Ganados are climbing up my ass, and then I will just whip it out and drain the swamp of Ganados. Thin the herd, drain the swamp, whatever. I'm gonna start using drain the swamp because it's more hilarious. Such a stupid saying. But yeah, so anyway, that is the riot gun. The funny story surrounding the shotguns is I've had many people ask me this question over the years about why I don't use the striker. And just like the handgun story, it's really dumb, and it's just something that has bothered me pretty much my whole life. The reason I don't use the shotgun is because you aim it from the hip. That bothers me for some reason. I have no idea why. It's just one of my quirks. Because I don't know. I have some weird quirks, I guess I should say. And the striker by far is the best shotgun in the game. The exclusive upgrade for the shotgun is that you can hold 100 shells in the magazine, in the giant drum magazine. So you will pretty much never have to reload mid-fight with the striker fully upgraded. Never. If you're expending 100 shells and not getting through the fight you're in, then you're doing something wrong. There's no way. So, I mean, the striker, I think, has less damage than the other shotguns, but just the sheer amount of pellets and shells you can throw into an encounter after that exclusive upgrade is so immense that it's just impossible to fail with the striker. So, yes, by far the best shotgun in the game. I know, but I just don't use it because it fires from the hip, and that just bothers me. Like, that just isn't how you would aim a shotgun or any weapon in real life. That is the same reason why I don't use the TMP. I know the TMP has a stock, but that's just a waste of inventory space. And there are other reasons why I don't use the TMP. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this, actually. Just a quick segue from the shotguns. The reason I don't use the TMP is because it's like a one of the reasons I just mentioned is it fires from the hip without the stock, so that annoys me. So don't use it because of that. But the TMP is like Resident Evil 4's game breaker. It's like a cheat weapon almost. Because if you analyze the weapon categories in Resident Evil 4, you got your handguns. Those are for close to medium range, precise shots. You can set up melee attacks with them. Kind of shoot them in the legs to kind of thin the hurt a little bit, so you can kind of deal with that. The shotguns are your, like I said, close quarters, oh shit moment button. When they get really, really close and you can't pull off enough good headshots to escape, you just whip out the shotgun, blast them all to hell, back up, and then, kind of reset yourself. Sniper rifles, of course, self-explanatory. They are for long-range engagements. And, of course, magnums, also self-explanatory. They're your bruiser. They're your damage dealer. They just wipe everything out, lickety-split. When you need something dead, lickety-split, you use the magnum. If you need something dead yesterday, you switch to the magnum. But yeah, the TMP can do all of those. The TMP, obviously, because you can aim, it has a laser sight, it fires precise shots, you can do headshots. It does less damage than handguns, but because it still stuns in one shot, you can use it basically like a handgun. You can stun enemies and set them up for melee attacks. When it comes to close quarters, oh shit button, because the TMP fires so fast and has so much ammo, you can basically just spray and pray, and it turns into a shotgun. You can take out entire hordes with the TMP easily. And there's so much ammo you find with the TMP throughout the game that you can do that and not worry about wasting ammo or not finding ammo or anything like that. And for the same reason, the ammo, for the same reason, you can, aim at someone long range if you have the stock equipped. Maybe take a few practice shots to kind of line up your aim to someone that's at a farther range. And then once you line it up, you can just lay on the trigger and kill them from afar. The TMP, because Resident Evil 4's combat is really based on like the different categories of the weapons. It's very situational. It's very complex and dynamic, and the different categories of weapons really fit that nicely. And the TMP just breaks that in half over its knee. So the TMP is quite frankly just a cheesy weapon. It's boring. That's why I don't use it. It just makes the game boring, in my opinion. I just don't like it. And of course the hip fire thing without the stock. So that's why I don't use the TMP and why I don't use the Striker. Despite the Striker being, yes, I will admit that it is the best shotgun in the game by far because of that 100 shell exclusive upgrade that allows you to just mow down literally every single ganado residing in whatever version of Spain is in Resident Evil 4. Apparently it's like a weird version of Spain where nobody speaks the right language or uses the right currency. So I don't know, whatever. Moving down to sniper rifles, obviously the semi-auto rifle. I've used the bolt action rifle. I think, I could probably count on two hands the amount of times I have fired the bolt action rifle in my entirety of playing this game all throughout the years. I have never ever used it for the same reason as the handgun and the shotgun. It's introduced in Chapter 1-2. I bought it. It cost a lot of money, and I think I did use it a decent, like a very few instances throughout that initial playthrough. And I just found it not worth it, because like I said, I always go back to the handgun for mainly everything, and then I will just switch to something else when I can't use the handgun. And the rifle was rarely used by me, and it obviously, because it costs money, it means less upgrades for the handgun or the shotgun, something I will be using way more often. So the reason that I never used the bolt action is because it was too expensive, and I just didn't want to buy it. So I just started not buying it and worked out strategies for getting through those areas without a rifle. That's just how I did it. You will see the canyon fight is what I call it. The fight right after the first merchant. Everything you see me do in my playthroughs was born out of me not wanting to buy the rifle. That's how I came up with that entire strategy. You open the door, you shoot the guy on the right, kill him, and then you kind of run down the stairs a little bit, kind of trigger everybody, go back up, and just kind of keep them at the bottom of the stairs. Sometimes they'll blow each other up with their dynamite, other times they'll come rushing, just headshots, melee attacks. That strategy that you see me use in my playthroughs, that's how that came about. Just being cheap and not wanting to waste money on the rifle that I was never going to use. However, because the rifle becomes much more prevalent in later chapters, I always bought the semi-auto rifle in Chapter 3-1, and that comes quite in handy. In several parts throughout the latter half of the game. So the semi-auto rifle is amazing, and with the exclusive upgrade, you can fire it very, 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 very quickly, which is amazing. So despite it doing less damage than the bolt action, I always choose a semi-auto rifle because the fire rate can really save your ass in a lot of situations, especially throughout the second half of the game. So the semi-auto rifle is my go-to sniper rifle, which is probably how it is for a lot of people. It's not that, I don't think that's really weird, unlike the me using the starting handgun and starting shotgun through a lot of my playthroughs. Lastly, the Magnum. Obviously, it's the Broken Butterfly. It does the most damage out of the Magnums. I'm not including the hand cannon because the hand cannon is a cheat weapon. If you don't upgrade it fully, it doesn't get infinite ammo, so you can use it like a regular Magnum. I still prefer the Broken Butterfly, really just because it's got style to it. The reload animation is probably, one of the best reload animations ever in a video game, literally ever. It's so cool. It's just really cool, and like I said, it does do a lot of damage. And the exclusive upgrade for it, I believe, just ups the damage to an immense amount. I think it does 50 damage per shot after the exclusive, which is insane. To compare that to the starting handgun. The starting handgun starts with exactly 1.0 points of damage. So a single exclusive Broken Butterfly shot is the equivalent to 50 base starting handgun shots. That's a lot of fucking damage. So yeah, Broken Butterfly is definitely my favorite Magnum. The Killer 7 is actually not bad. I've heard some kind of meh things about the Killer 7. I've used it quite a bit, actually. I don't mind it. It reloads quick. It obviously doesn't do as much damage as the Broken Butterfly, but it reloads really quick and it fires really quick. So if you find yourself in a situation to where you need to deal a lot of damage in a very short period of time, like against JJ, the chain gun guy in the island, or maybe some boss fights, El Gigante, the dual Gigante fight maybe, if you choose to fight both of them like I do instead of dropping one in the lava, the Killer 7 will probably, although I guess you can only have the Killer 7 in New Game Plus during that, because you don't unlock that until the tail end of Chapter 5-1. I mean, obviously, everyone knows about the Killer 7 video game. It's really just a reference to that. And I think it looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator gun in the Terminator, the first Terminator. It's just like a 1911 with a laser sight on it. But yeah. I mean, if you the Killer 7 isn't bad. It doesn't have an exclusive upgrade, which is unfortunate, because it really should. I mean, they could have upped the damage, they could have increased the ammo capacity, maybe increased the fire rate a little bit, whatever. It's just kind of weird how that's the only one that doesn't have an exclusive upgrade to it. So obviously that sucks about it, but still, even fully upgraded without having an exclusive, the Killer 7 isn't bad. I just prefer the Broken Butterfly just because it's a classic 6-shooter old Wild West style revolver, which is just something I like. So yeah. Is that it? Handguns, shotguns, Magnum, sniper rifles. I mean, obviously there's like some random weapons like the cheat weapons, the mine thrower, which you all know about because of my mine thrower only run. I never use that, and I really don't think it's worth it if you're going for a legitimate playthrough. If you want to do a challenge run with it, that's fine. But I really feel like the mine thrower is made more for challenge runs than anything else, because the ammo is very rare for it. It takes up quite a bit of space, and it just isn't very useful unless very specific situations. Same way with the Punisher handgun. The Punisher handgun isn't bad. I think when you upgrade it to its exclusive, I think it can penetrate 5 enemies in a row, if I remember that correctly. But which is pretty good. I mean, that's really good. But it's very situational because enemies won't be lined up perfectly throughout the game. So if they're not lined up, all of a sudden the Punisher's main shtick isn't applying, and then it just becomes a regular handgun, which it is a subpar regular handgun. It does less damage than I'm pretty sure it does less damage than even the starting handgun. And it's just kind of it's just so-so. It's a so-so handgun, and if you're not taking advantage of the exclusive upgrade, then there's really no point in using it. So yeah, that is my opinion on the Punisher. It's really only useful if you shoot all the medallions. You get it from the merchant for free, and then you can sell it back to him for 15,000 if you shot all of them. If you shoot 10, you get the Punisher without the first firepower upgrade. If you shoot all 15, he gives it to you with the first firepower upgrade for free. So make sure you shoot all the medallions, and it just makes it cost more, which means you can sell it back for more money. It's basically just a treasure to me in the game that's worth $15,000. That's pretty much all the Punisher is. Let's see what else. I explained the TMP, the Striker. I don't think I'm missing anything. Like I said, I don't really care about the cheat weapons. Chicago typewriter, the PRL, infinite rocket launcher. Obviously, those are novelty weapons more than anything. So yeah, guys. And I mean, surely with all the playthroughs I've done of this game and all the playthroughs that I've recorded over the years, I'm probably touched on this for each weapon throughout those playthroughs. But here it'll be in one, clean cut, nice video to be referenced by anybody who is just curious. If you come across one of my playthroughs and you see me using the starting handgun or the starting shotgun in, chapter 5-2, and you're wondering what the hell is on with me, what the hell am I all about? Why am I such an idiot for using such shitty weapons so late in the game? You'll be able to reference this video and get the information from the horse's mouth about why I use the weapons that I do in Resident Evil 4. So anyway, guys, I hope that was informative enough. I hope that was explaining enough detail about why I use what I use in Resident Evil 4. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a like and or a favorite. I would appreciate it very much. And until next time, I will catch you later.